Welcome everybody. My name is Philip. I'm talking to you from Australia, South Australia, and I'm going to introduce the next speaker. Sandra, as a meditation mindfulness teacher, Sandra has realised the importance and benefits of this practice in her daily life and how it is linked to worship. In this presentation, Sandra will talk about worship and meditation. We'll explain shortly the science behind meditation, will give us some tools and show us its importance to reach a higher level of connection to our thought adjuster and better comprehension and discernment of what we can change in our daily habits. Go ahead, Sandra.
Thank you. So good morning or good evening or good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy to be here and grateful to have the opportunity to share this with you. And since the topic is meditation and also worship, I would like to start by closing our eyes or lowering our gaze, whatever is better for you, and start just taking your awareness to your body, taking a few deep breaths, and just connecting with the sensations of the body, maybe the feeling of your feet touching the ground, or your sit bones on the chair or the sofa. And then connecting maybe to the sounds around us. Just being aware of the sounds, letting them come and go. Just observing them as we would observe clouds on the sky come and go. Then coming back to your breath, maybe exploring by deepening the breath. Another invitation is to take your hands to your heart. Connecting with the center of our body, our heart. And then inviting this presence in our mind, that is our thought adjuster, come together with our heart and connecting with the sensation of love that comes from this union of light surrounding all of our body. And spreading this light around the world. And if for some reason this is not available to you, just connecting with the intention of this love surrounding us, this light spreading all around. Feeling the breath in and out. And if the mind wanders, just bringing it back firmly but gently to this moment. Now coming back, bringing the awareness again to the whole of our body. Again, connecting with every part, maybe on the way softening parts that may be tense. being aware of the sounds around us and of the breath in and out. And starting to move in our body. And when you feel ready, open your eyes. And coming back to the Zoom room. So thank you for sharing this meditation with me. I would like to start talking about worshiping. So first I would like to go back. Do you see the screen? It's okay?
Yep, it's all good.
Good. So there is a lot that the Urantia book says about worshiping, but I choose this quote about the Urantia book. It's one of my favorite quotes, which says, "Worship is the highest privilege and the first duty of all created intelligence." And I remember a friend of mine that maybe some of you know for sure, Richard Keeler, used to always say this quote, and I remember me of him. And I think it's a beautiful quote because it doesn't say it starts by saying it's the highest privilege. And I see also, I share this saying. In my experience, when we go into worship, it's really a privilege that we may do so. And eventually with time, we really realize that, it's a first duty, but it's a beautiful duty. And I would like to connect to the next slide, which explain what is really worship after the Urantia book. And it says, worship is for its own sake. Prayer embodies a self or creature interest element that is the great difference between worship and prayer. And worship asks nothing and expects nothing for the worshiper. So I think if you ask, or maybe you may ask yourself, what has worshiping to do with meditation? But I think that meditation, in the way that I'm going to present, or the way I see meditation and I practice the meditation, or the options that you have by meditating, has a lot to do with the way we can really go into worship, into this really communion with, because it's really being together. In Spanish, my mother tongue is Spanish, you really talk about this communion, this get together, the union together with our Father, Mother. So we know, I want to really make a link to our really creator and master and friend and brother, Jesus, because he really was a person who was all the time in this way, using worshiping or meditation to go into worship with our Father. And we know, I took this first quote that I found in the early years, that at the end of the 11th year, Jesus was a vigorous, well-developed, moderately humorous, and fairly light-hearted youth. But from this year on, he was more and more given to peculiar seasons of profound meditation and serious contemplation. So what is really, or how is the way that really Jesus used to go into meditation and serious contemplation? And first I would like to really make a definition of what is meditation in these days. after Wikipedia, after our let's say our human, after human saying is meditation is a practice where an individual uses a technique such as mindfulness, or focusing the mind on a particular object, thought, or activity to train attention and awareness and achieve a mentally clear and emotional calm and stable state. So it says that meditation is really a technique, and it can use a technique such as mindfulness or other techniques. I choose mindfulness, and I really put the definition of mindfulness here. Mindfulness is the psychological process of purposely bringing one's attention to experiences occurring in the present moment, without judgment, that's very important, which one develops through the practice of meditation and through other training. So I think that I brought this because I think really that the way that Jesus used to go into worship and meditation was through mindfulness. Is the way that he used really to go and isolate himself in nature and be in the present moment. And the present moment, sometimes in these days, we are really, because our mind works really like that. 50% of the time that we are living, we are in our daily life, and that's really scientifically proved. We spend in automatic pilot, not being aware for what are we doing and how are we doing it. And our mind wanders really from future to the past many times, and we really sometimes really miss the way to be present, to be in the moment. And I, in my own experience, think that is in the way of being present and in the moment that you can really connect with this part of ours that we know is our thought adjuster, is the fragment of God in us. If we are in automatic pilot, that gets lost. So I would like to go to the next quote. It's one of my favorite papers, the Roland papers, which really describes a bit what really Jesus used to practice. But the greatest of all methods of problem solving I have learned from Jesus, your master. I refer to that which he so consistently practices and which he has so faithfully taught you, the isolation of worshipful meditation. In this habit of Jesus going off so frequently by himself to commune with the Father in heaven is to be found a technique not only of gathering strength and wisdom for the ordinary conflicts of living, but also of appropriating the energy for the solution of the higher problems of a moral and spiritual nature. So I always, when I was studying mindfulness, I learned some things that really make like a aha, like a ha clue. I don't know how to say in English, but it's like you wake up to a realization. And it helped me a lot to know how really my brain works and how really do I get to use really this tool of mindfulness to be in the present moment, and why sometimes it's really difficult to also apply it. So I will go a little bit into some theory behind this, because I think that could be really helpful for some of you, and maybe some of you already know it, but I would like to explain in a very simple way how our brain works. If you see here, our brain, well, our brain is really something amazing, and is more than this, of course, but I would like to concentrate on this and explain you why sometimes it's difficult to be really, why we are almost, or 50% of our time in automatic pilot, and why it's difficult for us sometimes to really get into being the present moment in awareness. So we have a part of our brain, which is this one here, which is one of the oldest, if not the oldest part of our brain. And it's the part, the amygdala, who really is in charge of really help us to be aware if there's some danger. So when we are in stress, or when our brain realizes that we are in danger, this part activates. And I'm gonna go afterwards to explain how it activates in the whole of our body. But this part, for one side, is good because a little bit of stress, the good stress, is known that it's good for us because it's the one who really motivates us. Also, it's good when we are in really danger. Like if you take the example, you are going to cross the street and a car is coming, and this part, realize probably in a quicker than our body that the car is coming, and we step back and we really have been aware. So this part activates the side of the fight and flight modus in our body. And this part, which is called the prefrontal cortex, is the part that activates when we are relaxed. It activates also the concentration in us, the awareness in us. It activates the hormones that relax us, that make us happy, and so on. So what happened, and in this time of uncertainty that we are experiencing now in our planet with this virus going on, this part gets activates. And what happened when this activates all the time? When we are in a status or all the time in stress, this part starts growing, and the bigger it is, and the quicker are going to be our reactions to stressful situations in life. So what really mindfulness, the practice of mindfulness and the practice of being aware in the moment does is really making this part grow. They don't work together. When this is activated, the other, and this goes smaller. So, and when this get activated, then and it's not as bigger as when we are the whole time in stress, then we are able to really react, be aware that this has been activated, and we can really change into be aware that this is activated. And then if we are aware, we have really the choice to choose what to do. Do I need really to keep being aware in fight modus, or is this a dangerous situation really for me or not? Or I go into, go connect with the present moment through breath, through sensations of the body or whatever, and I calm down and tell my brain it's okay, everything is okay. There's no danger there. That the interesting thing that also happened to me when I get to know this science behind the brain and behind really mindfulness is that our brain in a situation of danger, whether we think about it or we are experiencing it, it doesn't make a difference in the reactions of our body. So if we are really in danger, our body is reacting, of course, and help us also if we have to fight or flight or defend ourselves. But if we are thinking something, like sometimes now in these times when we're thinking, and I really get the example of what is now going on with this virus. Maybe I'm gonna be sick, and I'm in stress about that. The reaction in the body are gonna be eventually the same. We're gonna get in stress. And when this is activated, also the amygdala, and the stress in our body goes on, our immune system goes down. So that's very important to know. So what is also a very simple thing to explain this, how it works, is in our nervous system. So I'm going to explain very simple. I hope you understand, and maybe we're going to have time afterwards for questions, is how it works, our nervous system. So simple say, our nervous system is divided into the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. So when our amygdala, the part of our brain, is activated, the one that warns us of danger or is in stress, activates is the sympathetic nervous system activate. So you see here our heartbeat increases. We are really breathing shallow breath on the chest and the lungs. You know, we need more oxygen for eventually need to run. All our organs are going to shut down, so it's not shut down completely, but the energy or our body is not going to be here. And whether when our parasympathetic nervous system activates, we are really slowing our heartbeat. We can't really direct our air to the whole of our body, down in our diaphragm, in the whole lung. Really is this deep breath that calms us and oxygenate all our body. And then the organs in our body are gonna work really in a balance. And that's why I understood when I knew this, that there's a lot of problems in people that are all the time in stress, that maybe they have really problems of heart problems or ulcers in the stomach, because when you are in stress, really your organs are not working as they should work. So this is very important to know. So when we are really practicing this awareness and this being in the present moment, we are really activating this part of our brain. And the more we activate this part of our brain, the more we use really this tool of awareness. And I connect also with the possibility of, because I think that we can be aware by connecting with our body, with our thoughts, and with our emotions. But I think that the people who are really connected to not only the Urantia readers, but the people who are really connected and know that there is a divine in us, that is this fragment of God in us, we have the plus to really can connect with this part of our really of us that really is going to help us or give us really at this advantage, this plus to really be connected and have this sense of love, of being really a part of a whole, of really this beautiful sense of belonging. So why is important to practice this as much as we can, and also in our daily life? Because sometimes we think, okay, I really do. There are a lot of people probably from you that have a meditation practice or do their prayers, in the morning, in the evening. But when we connect in the present moment, or when we are all around the day really connecting with this moment, with this awareness, with this connection with our Father, we are creating this path in our brain. And it's known now with neuroscience that this path, the more we really go into this path, or we really walk this path in our brain, then it's going to create a habit in us, and it's going to help us to get in a more easier way to that. So I would like you to, would like to invite you in another exercise. So just close your eyes for a moment and imagine you are walking on a way in nature. So on your left side, there is grass, very, very huge grass that is over your head probably, and on the right side, you have also grass, a little bit less grown, like about the size that it reaches until your knees or your upper legs. So you are going to buy something, and you have this path that is free, and you realize you have to go a long way around this path to reach the store that is, when you look to the right, is in front of you, when you would traverse this path, this growing grass path. So you get into the idea to go through the grass. So the grass is really, really high. It's not that easy. You start walking and you have a difficult to really make it through because you have to step on the grass, and you take your time until you go to the store. Eventually you buy the things you need. And then coming out from the store, you decided to go the same path. So this time it's going to be a little bit easier. You step really onto the same path. This time you don't have to really step very, very hard because it's a little bit form the path, but you go to the other side. It took your time, but a little bit less than before. When you arrive to the path, you realize, oh no, you forgot something very important. So you need to go back to the store to buy it. So you go again through this path. This time you can hurry more because it's the third time you go through the path, and you reach the store in half the time as you did before. You buy what you forgot, and now going back home you realize you can really practically run through this path to reach home. With a deep breath, I invite you to come back and open your eyes. So now I would like to really let you think about it. You know, when you really went the first time, how was it? Was it very difficult? And probably the second time less difficult, but still was difficulty there. The third time was easier, and the fourth time it was really easier. So I did this exercise because I would like you to really think that in the brain, that's exactly what it happens when we do something. And it doesn't matter if it's a good habit or a bad habit. You know, this connection our brain really form. So I suppose that all of us want really to do or create positive habits in our brain. So that's why really a mindfulness practice can give you. And now I would like to go to, before I would go, I would like to show you, probably you know this quote, it related to what I said before from our mind is really worrying sometimes about some things that really aren't there. So this I love this quote because really it says a lot. I've experienced a great deal of pain and suffering in my life, most of which has never happened. And I really put this quote because I want really to be I want us to really be aware what can we create in our mind. That when I know it's not easy because I mean our brain goes really into this old pattern or into this connection, or our amygdala really activates, and that's something also that I would like to mention. Sometimes this part of our brain, the amygdala, what I showed before, here also is the part that really all the memories from situations that we have experienced in life that have show us danger, are really here registered. And sometimes when we experience in life an experience that is similar to what we have experienced before, this automatically connects, automatically goes on without us being able to control it. We cannot control how our amygdala, how this part of our brain, which is called this memory of our brain, it's called the implicit memory, activates, but we can control how to respond to it. So really meditation, being in the moment, and the most worshiping can really break or can really make a difference in the way we respond to this situation in life. So, and I think that's for me, I'm speculating of course here, but for me I think that is an explanation from our our difficulties as a human beings, that we didn't get really the enough violet DNA from Adam and Eve, that our brain is really more into the animal reaction of this part of our brain that we would like to, but that is how our brain is. But we really can break this pattern of only let this react, and we can really respond in a different way. So I would like to show you some or give you some different possibilities to be in the present moment, to practice mindfulness and also worship. That probably some of you already do. But I think beside the meditation that we really know, like closing your eyes and being in the present moment, I think that first of all, it's important to say that meditation is not about empty our minds. We know now that we know a little bit how our brain works, that we have really what is called in Buddhism the monkey mind. It really jumps from one thing to the other, from one thought to the other, present, future, and we cannot change it. The only thing that we can do, because that's what our minds do, and that's okay, but the only thing what we can do is bring our mind back into the present moment. And for that, you can really sit into meditation. You can close your eyes, and you can really let yourself connect to something. In the mindfulness I teach, normally we connect, because it's secular mindfulness, connect to the body sensations, or to the breath, or their sounds, or even when people have difficulty to close their eyes, to something that you see in the room. But we, as if you are able, or if you are really connected, there is also a technique from a contemplative meditation that I learned from my very good friends many years ago, Gart and Martha and Bobby, I don't know if you're there, is to create a word or a symbol where you can go back when you meditate instead of your breath. The breath is also okay, but if you create a word that connects you to our Father, Mother, I think that the effects are really awesome. I do that myself, and it's really helpful. Every time my mind goes, I come back and bring it back to the present moment by thinking in this word, and that could be something, a word you have especially to call our Father, Mother, or something that connects to you, or it can be also a song, or maybe you prefer to hold something in your hand. Everybody is different, and the possibilities are different for everybody. So I recommend you, or I invite you to do or try that. The other thing that I also mentioned before is really to go back to this one sensation of the body feels good. And sometimes, even if we have the word, or we're connected by meditating to what is going on in our experience now, some things are going to come up. That's normal also, because our body is not used to be still, or our body is not used to do that. So I invite you to explore this in a way that is really maybe try not to judge it. Try not to say, oh, this is a bad experience or a good experience. Just explore, to watch the experience and accept it as it is. Try not to really judge it. And another way also of meditations that many people don't know is really walking meditation. Yeah, you can meditate by walking. And that's a grateful really practice, because you can really go in nature. And I truly believe that's the way Jesus used to really worship and meditate, is walking in the nature. I don't think, we don't know. I think he used to sit also, but I don't think he went into always sitting and meditating with the closing eyes. It was not the way he used to do it at that time. But he used to go in nature and walk around and connect really, but being aware also of our thoughts are going to bring us somewhere. Are going to really go into, maybe you go for a walk and then you realize, oh, what I have to cook later on, or oh, the things I did yesterday with my friend, or the party I had, and so on. So try really to, when you walk, being aware, and it helps first to start with the body, being aware that you are walking that you are feeling your feet, anchoring yourself before you really start to broaden your attention to the outside. And then you can connect to a flower, you can connect to something outside of you. And it's very beautiful, because I always take the example in this from children, that they are really, we call it that in mindfulness, like being with a beginner's mind. When you see a small child, it doesn't matter how many times he saw a snail on the floor. He's going to see the snail and he's going to wonder about this beautiful snail and watch it really with attention, how it goes. So that is the kind of the attitude we want to bring in a meditation, or in a walking meditation in nature. And then it's beautiful if you can connect, and it's possible to connect with, okay, you see the flower, and then you see the beauty of behind this flower, and of course the beauty and the love from the one who created this flower. So that's also one method. And I'm being mindful also of the time. I wanted to do another meditation, but I don't know if we're gonna have time, because I want to also have time for questions or to share a little bit. But I want to share also a tool that sometimes it's helpful for times when we are really in stress, even if we know we can really connect to our thought adjuster. We is there, but our brain is really connected to all these memories. And now in the time that we are really experiencing the whole world the most, is a pocket practice called, maybe some of you know it, RAIN. So this is very easy to do. So I want you to really close your eyes and just think about a situation that wasn't very pleasant to you. Not a very, very difficult one, just a middle one, difficult situation. And connect to that situation, or maybe you are experiencing really a difficult situation at this time. Just close your eyes and or lower your gaze and try to recognize this situation. Just recognize it and try to just watch it as it is, let it come. Of course, if that's not available to you, just don't do it, just let it go, if it's too overwhelming. And recognize and just watch it as you would like watch a movie screen, going on. And that is the R for recognize in the RAIN practice. And now I would like you to go into allow whatever it comes with this recognizing of the situation. It may be some feelings, emotions coming up, maybe some sensations in the body, and maybe some thoughts. And remember, whenever it may be overwhelming or too difficult, just going back to your breath, or open your eyes and connect to something around us, around you. That will be allowing the situation to be, will be the A from rain. And now I would like to go into investigate the situation. Maybe you get to realize where does it comes from. Maybe it's a situations that you experience at work, or maybe it's really connected with what is happening, a new news you saw yesterday or something like that. Investigate where it comes from. There will be the I from rain. And the last part of this pocket exercise or practice, as I call it, it will be nurture. And now I want you to think what it can help you to nurture yourself. To really, is the time that we realize maybe our amygdala, the part of our brain, has been activated, and we go into being aware of that and choose what to do. Do we go? Sometimes it's good also to really go. Maybe you need to cry about it, or maybe you need to put your hands on your heart, or hold your neck on your back. Or maybe even hug you, Sometimes we forget to be really kind to ourselves. Tend to, the ones that we are more the hardest with are ourselves sometimes. Or maybe you need to stand up and start walking. And then you have the opportunity to investigate, to really let yourself nurture with whatever you want. Now taking a deep breath, I want you to let go of this experience and let go of whatever sensations or things. And if you have the feeling that you need to nurture yourself, that keep going, that's also okay. So this is a practice that really, if you put it in your head, I always say it's a practice like I can use when I have the feeling it's raining, rain is coming down. So you can really, really have it and really do it very quickly. It doesn't need to be so long. So recognize, allow, investigate where it comes from, and then go into really nurture yourself. So I would like to finish with a quote from really what is also this worshipful and mindful practice doing to ourselves, and what it used to do to Jesus also from Roland Papers. This worshipful practice of your master brings that relaxation which renews the mind, that illumination which inspires the soul, that courage which enables one bravely to face one's problems, that self-understanding which obliterates the belating fear, and that consciousness of union with divinity which equips man with the assurance that enables him to dare to be godlike. The relaxation of worship, or spiritual communion as practiced by the master relieves tension, removes conflicts, and mightily augments the total resources of the personality. How do I get out from this? So I would like to go now here. We have some minutes to have the possibility of share if someone has any comments or any questions to do. I'm open to your comments.
Hi Sandra.
Hi.
That was really interesting. It reminded me of when I was first, or just before I was introduced to the Urantia book, and in those early years, I used to do a lot of meditation at night, stillness and reflectivity, and it was really expansive without going into the details of what happened. It was amazing. And I found more recently, after progressing more and maybe making more mistakes, having more turbulence in my life, that the meditative state was harder to reach. And I was wondering whether at the time, whether it was something to do with me not being able to focus as clearly. But more recently, I came to the realization that I'm actually more in a state that's more meditative and reflective constantly, consciously, than I used to be when I used to have to kind of make it happen. And that doesn't mean to say that I'm somehow transcendent now or anything like that. What I mean is I find myself going into contemplation and reflection loops just when I'm standing still, or if I'm chopping carrots, or if I've just said something stupid. And I go and I find myself in a kind of, it feels like I'm reaching outwards, but also reaching inwards, and it's not always as coherent as like sitting still, like you were demonstrating then. But I do find that really interesting. I just wondered if you had any thoughts on that.
Yeah, totally. I forgot also of one possibility also to meditate and be in the present moment, and you just mentioned it. Really, when you are doing anything, in daily life, you can really focus yourself, as you say before, cutting carrots. Because the meditation or the mindfulness practice that allows this part of the brain, prefrontal cortex, to grow. We call it the muscle, mindful muscle, that it grows and it gets more easier to use it. As you said, now you're more in that, is when you bring your mind back to the present moment. This is the exercise that allows this part to be more strong. So it goes easier to be in the moments of being aware in the present moment. And as you say, we can connect also those moments to worship, because when you are talking,
absolutely.
You think, I'm grateful that really I have the carrots.
I'm always spiraling off into that. Absolutely. I do that. I do that often as well. That's an amazing insight. You've made me think of something else. It's almost like I feel like rather than I used to jump up to meditate, I kind of more like feel like the jump down after I've finished reflecting now. It's like I've improved something by taking the time to spend a moment to reflect or understand, whether it be a failure or whether it be a contemplation of something from the past, which you were referring to in one of the meditations as well. And I have a number of things that are difficult to think about, but I often will take time to go around and think them through. And it feels like more of a step down afterwards. Because I'm not in a meditative state all the time. It feels, I was worried at one point, maybe 10 years ago, that I couldn't reach outwards anymore. And then I realized that what I didn't need to reach outwards, I just needed to open up enough to let it in. And that was a really strange thing.
Yeah, I think that many people think really meditation is about that, what you say, like stop and open up. And when it's not possible, then you have the tendency to say, there's something wrong with me. I cannot do it.
Right.
It's very difficult because that's what our mind does. It really wanders. And the exercise is and also really, being aware of being kind to yourself, because sometimes we have the tendency to say, okay, I'm not able to do that, something wrong, and then you have really those judging thoughts against you, and that's really not
right.
helpful.
And that's toxic. It's not going to help. It's just going to inhibit. Right.
In my experience as a mindfulness and meditation teacher, there's a lot of people that only do that, by doing things, they don't sit at all to meditate. They go for walking meditation. There's also movement meditation that you can do in slow movement, Qigong or yoga, So Find your
Right.
way.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Because it used to be lying on the bed and
Yeah.
trying to sort of open the top of my head, and it used to work beautifully. But it now I almost feels like do you know when you have a feeling of revelation inside you, it kind of like a surge of something you feel? It's a truth response. It almost feels like electricity. I used to get those a lot, and now it's almost feels more like it's a constant wave of it that I'm dipping in and out of, and it doesn't feel so much like being shocked. And I think that's part and parcel of the same thing. But I found your insights are really interesting. It made me think a lot about how my perception of meditation has changed, and also and what was really validated to me is to not feel that I'm engaging with it. I'm not engaging with it just because I can't do it in the same way. There's lots of different ways of achieving a similar result. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. I think we have time for one more comment or question. Is if anybody?
I just want to tell you thank you. That was really nice. It's just a good reminder to stay in the now. And it's really important to stay in the now. So I appreciate you. Thank you for putting on your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sandra, I put in the chat a link to what you had referred to in Gard's practice of centering prayer. You didn't use the term, but that's what he was teaching, and so I put a link in the chat.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, everybody, I think it's time now to have a break if you'd like, or if you want to chat further with Sandra. But we'll do the next presentation in another 5 minutes' time.
Cool.
Thank you, Sandra. That was wonderful.
Thank you. I'm very grateful and really, very, very happy to have the opportunity to share with you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yay. So how are you holding up, Andre? Tired?
You calling me out?
No, I'm just, Andre's normally flaking by now. He's an hour ahead of me. I mean, I'm getting tired, so I'm wondering why he's looking so feisty. It still seems like he's doing okay.
I don't know how much longer I can last.
I know. Well, obviously we have to get up for River. I wish I could spend the entire night. I'm loving this. I wish I could just spend the whole night just let it wash over me.
Oh, I know.
I think it might literally wash over me if I black out on the camera. Yeah, so that's. But it's really amazing, and I think this is what you mentioned before. It's really nice when you have people from different associations all getting together like this. It's transcending the geography and the group setting. It's amazing. I love it. Which is the work me and you try and do. I try to do stuff that transcends that, and I love it when those sort of things happen. It's amazing.
Nice to see you, Bennett.
You too, Andre. We don't get together often enough.
Not often enough. Nice also to see Young Seo. I haven't seen him since Montreal. You were in Montreal in 2010. Isn't that right, Young? Now, you may not realize I'm talking to him.
He may be muted. I don't think he hears you. Either that or he's really offended by you.
Okay, well, I probably mispronounced his name twice.
Yeah, I would. I'd struggle with that pronunciation.
Yeah,
that's 10 years. It's amazing how quickly 10 years goes by, right?
Yeah,
it's amazing. So, yeah. Just give it a reply to Sandra. I know there's was it you that put the itinerary up, Andre, on your page?
What?
The itinerary of who's studying, what these studies go through, because obviously we're going to be asleep for some of it, and then I'm going to have a finite period of time tomorrow to be able to watch some of it, because when River's up, it's not going to be very easy. Mm-hmm. I mean, she could join in and ruin it for everyone. What do you think about that? But I was just wondering, was it you who posted it?
I didn't post it, no, but somebody else did probably.
I saw somebody had posted. Yeah, it was good to see it. I was actually endeavoring